What if I told you there's a super easy way to make the perfect stencil that you can use as a roadmap to paint characters on any canvas? Even if you have limited drawing experience or lack the ability to freehand an entire character on your shoes, like myself, this video will lead you down the right path. Or if you're just looking for a new time-saving tool to add to your character design arsenal, we'll guide you through all the necessary steps, and by the end, you'll be able to create linework stencils such as these. Oh yeah, and we're going to try to cover it all in under 2 minutes. Okay, so you'll be able to do this whether you want to work in Photoshop on a desktop or in Procreate on an iPad. Essentially, all of the steps will be the same regardless of what software you're working in. Certain tools may just have different names. Start by isolating your character from the background. Next, duplicate the layer your character's on and paint the entire thing black. Name the layer Silhouette to keep everything organized and easier to understand. Once you turn down the opacity, you'll see more of the original image underneath. Let's leave that right around 50%. Next, let's create a new layer named White Linework. Select your paintbrush tool and turn the hardness up to 100%. Then for size, let's go with about 14 pixels. However, this can vary depending on the overall resolution of your image. If you're working in Procreate, select the monoline brush under the calligraphy section. Now we're going to start drawing lines on top of the image anywhere you want to start separating major features of the character. It's important to remember, you're not just tracing all of the pre-existing black line work here. But let's take a quick pause right there. You might be thinking to yourself, hey Dylan, isn't there a button I can click to just select all of the black line work at once? What do you think? Yes, on some images that may be possible, but those lines will be far too thin to cut out by any vinyl cutter. But wait, Dylan, what if I add a stroke to all of those lines to make them a little bit thicker and easier to cut with my Silhouette Cameo? Although that could make the cutting process more manageable by having the thicker lines, you probably still end up with an image that's over-detailed to the point that the machine struggles to cut it. Plus, there's always a chance you might be working with an image like this where you can't even isolate the line work in any real way. So remember, we're not just making a direct recreation of the line work, instead we're just trying to separate some of the major components. Now, let's get back to it. These lines don't have to be absolutely perfect either. The undo button will be your best friend whenever you accidentally get off track. Incredibly tiny details like the fingernails at this scale are things you can avoid. To accurately capture the likeness of your character, it's crucial to get the face right. For features like the eyes, mouth, and nose, selecting the entire shape on your original image layer can help ensure correct proportions. You can also do this for other key aspects of the image that need to be precise, such as the symbol on Gara's head and sandbag. Then, paint that entire selection back on your white linework layer. After you've painted in all the necessary details, turn the opacity back to 100% on the silhouette layer and save the image as a JPEG. Next up, you can load that into your stencil cutting software. I'm using Silhouette Studio here. Head over to the trace panel, click Select Trace Area, select your whole image, and hit Trace. Now we have all of our cut lines ready to go. Grab your canvas and measure precisely how long you want the character to be. Input that number in the software, load up some vinyl, and hit Send. In any spots where your line work touches the edge of the background, add a quick slice so that it will be easier to separate, otherwise it won't peel off correctly. Then cover it up with your preferred transfer tape. Flip that over to remove the backing, Put that negative portion off to the side and you can remove any excess transfer tape on the positive portion. After that, remove any internal parts you need to help visualize your character's placement. In this case, I need Gara's hand to align with the swoosh. Next, pull back the transfer tape in a slow diagonal motion while continuously pressing down on the vinyl to prevent any parts from shifting or lifting. Then, you may need to cut the negative portion of the vinyl into smaller pieces to make it easier to wrap around your image, especially if it's a larger one. Heat set the vinyl down, and then you can remove all of the internal components of your character. Couple light base coats with my airbrush, and now we can start filling in each of the main colors of the character. At this point, you're just coloring within the lines, and you'll slowly start to see your image come to life. After that, we can remove all of the vinyl covering our background and the line work itself. This is when you would do all of your shading and highlights up next. Be sure to take those tiny details all the way up to your edges. Then it's time to solidify these with some black line work. Listen, everyone should practice their drawing skills and hone in on that craft. But if you're intrigued by seeing other ways people do things, then this may be something you want to try down the line. There's more than one way to bake a cake, right? Now, if you've got an absolutely wicked pair of custom shoes that you made, there's still one gigantic problem to solve before the job is complete, and it's this. If you can't deliver the package in a manner that will truly impress your client and instantly make them want to reorder, you're missing out. To make sure this doesn't happen to you, check out this video next. Alright guys, everybody get out there and just create.